Welcome, everyone, to Ladder Daily Digest. We honor creators, and we're happy to have Richie Steadman, the creator of The Cultural Hall. That's where I know him from, but we're going to find out way more about him. And thanks, Randy, for coming on the show and co-hosting.
It's always a kick in the head to co-host with you, Gene. And Richie, we sure appreciate you coming. It's a pleasure to meet you. I really love your content on YouTube, and I'm sure there's many other places where it can be seen.
Honored and pleasure to be here, gentlemen.
Maybe what we'll do is we'll get your life story, like a life sketch, like where you're going to be able to be at your own funeral, and you get to say your life sketch. No, but just give us about 10 minutes leading up to high school graduation and what's your life like as a young Richie.
Who is Richie anyway? Okay, so I born here in Utah. That's where I'm from, in the Sandy Midvale, so sort of Salt Lake County, the Valley, for people who may not be familiar with that. Not the downtown portion itself. Come from a family of five, two older siblings, oldest sister, next oldest is brother, then me, and then two younger brothers. Born into a family, practicing Latter-day Saint family, baptized when I was 8 years old.
Were you a Cub Scout then?
I was, in fact, a Cub Scout, made my way through Cub Scouts. My big Cub Scout claim to fame is, and I don't know if they do this anymore, but all of those little pins that you could get for, adventuring and geography or whatever, I don't even actually remember. I got every single pin that I could as a Weebelo, and then did the Boy Scout program and got as far as a Star Scout. About the time I turned 13, parents got divorced, lived with mom. We moved neighborhoods. Life got a little shaky as far as if parents don't stay married, what does that look like? Older sister that same year moved out, went to college. Older brother kind of fell into a deep depression. Younger siblings needed more attention. So kind of in the middle, I was like, are you good? Yeah, I'm fine. And then attention was paid other places. Had to change schools.
Did you feel a little bit like Nephi, where you had to be the man to help your younger brothers stay on the righteous path or anything?
Yeah, I feel not immediately as I got older and as I got time to be serving a mission, or time where I could be eligible to serve a mission. It definitely was like, you need to come with me. Let's go. And the habit hadn't been formed that they would come with me every time. So I was probably, I feel like maybe Nephi probably did it the right way, where it's like, I'm leading by example. Whereas I was dragging and guilting and shaming to try and get siblings to go, because I felt like it was right, but just couldn't come up with a better tactic to get them there otherwise. So I graduated from high school. Most of my focus in the stuff that I did in high school was student government and then the arts. The high school that I went to had a tremendous arts program, choir, theater, all of that. So I did, my senior year, I think I had an English class, and then choir, theater, student government. It was that kind of thing.
Did you either choir or theater go travel the distance to go compete or anything like that?
Yeah, we would go. I think my sophomore year we did a tour through the South, going to we started in Cincinnati and then went down to Georgia and ended up in Florida, and then my junior year we went to San Francisco, and then senior year we went to Disneyland. So it was the full thing as far as that goes. I was, performing in plays.
Did you have to sell candy bars to make money for the trips?
No, we did not candy bars. We did hot chocolate. That was our thing. Stevens Hot Chocolate had a partnership with our school. So it was, the canisters that you're making a couple bucks off of, and then you could be able to go and do it. But was able to go and do that. A tremendous amazing experience, being able to see the world, or just not Utah as a younger kid. And then when college,
you had release time seminary.
Yeah. So I guess that would have been my 7th class. So I never went early. I never stayed after school or did on night. And that was before an online thing would have been. So yeah, it was my senior year probably would have only been the serious class was English, and then release time and a bunch of arts classes. Okay. And then went to Southern Utah University on a leadership scholarship because of the student government that I did in high school. It was essentially a student government scholarship at Southern Utah University. Went there for a year and then went out to serve a mission.
Congrats on the mission. Where did you go?
I went to, everyone always makes the claim that their mission is the best, and I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to say it's the worst, but I am going to say that, LDS folklore would tell you that the prophet Joseph Smith selected me personally to serve in my mission. I went to the Ohio Cleveland mission and got to serve in and around Kirtland, and it is, whether it's true or not, it was perpetuated among all of the missionaries that in heaven, those that were selected to serve in that particular area were specifically selected by the prophet Joseph Smith. So maybe not the best mission, but first prophet in the Restoration selected me to go there, so I'll take that.
So you for a little while lived really close to the Kirtland Temple?
Yes, in fact, for about 6 months, I was really, really close in a town called Chardon. It was one of the places where he went to go stand trial. And then for about 18 months, I was within about 25 minutes. So if investigators and we could arrange a ride, we would have the opportunity to take people interested in the church to Kirtland. Or our zone conferences were held either in the Kirtland Temple or in the Stake Center, and then you could go to the Kirtland Temple. This, of course, being before the mainstream Brighamite Church owned the Kirtland Temple, which has just happened in the last couple of years. So we were having that interaction with the community of Christ.
And you're doing this all around the turn of the century?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And it was interesting, something I had never considered before. Our approach largely was, hey, we have this book about Christ in the Americas. It's called the Book of Mormon. Would you like to know more about it? And depending on the area which we served, there was enough of a concentration of community of Christ members where you'd go, hey, this is a book. And they're like, yeah, I was just reading about Nephi building the ship. Isn't that inspirational? And we all went, okay, we're going to have to do this a different way than we thought before. So,
yeah. And so like Y2K happened while you were there then?
Yes.
Were there any preppers? Were people expecting the end of the world?
I'm sure there were. We didn't much know about it in true mission form. There is a picture of, I was in the west side of Cleveland at the actual like January 1, 2000. There's a picture of 4 elders in their preparation day underwear. We decided streaking would be the best thing that we could do on New Year's Eve on our missions of the year 2000. And so we have stocking caps because Cleveland is super cold, stocking caps, underwear, and shoes and socks. And there's a picture of the 4 of us there in the city of Lakewood, which is just on the other side of
the lake effect makes things even extra cold, right?
Yes, and extra snowy, like how the Salt Lake Valley has. There's a snow belt of extra snow there in the Cleveland area too.
So when you say you were in your underwear,
not
literally?
Garments. No, yeah, like literally underwear, but not garments. It was like our preparation day underwear. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a classic picture.
That sounds hilarious.
Yeah. I mean,
you're supposed to create memories, and that's a great way to do it.
It's one of the few times I took my mission, as I sort of look back in retrospect and, being, older and wiser or whatever now, I took it very serious. And I think I took, the serious parts serious enough, but I think there were lots of things that didn't need to be taken so serious. I think I took them way too seriously. And that I actually carry as a pretty fond moment where I just was like, I'm a 20-year-old kid, doing this dumb thing that a 20-year-old kid does when potentially it could be the end of the world if Y2K happens as we think it's going to happen.
Yeah, if the world's going to end, you might as well be caught in your underwear.
Right. Thank you.
Right.
A mantra of mine. Thank you.
You wake up every morning and say
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
There it is.
So tell me about your memories of going to the Kirtland Temple. Did you, because like you say, you got to go have meetings there and you gave tours, I guess, a little bit. And did you ever go to the tours that the Community of Christ were given, like in the summertime?
Yeah, absolutely. So serving in the Ohio Cleveland Mission, it was probably one of the greatest honors and something so unique because of the proximity to church history. So when you land in Cleveland, they don't take you to the mission home; they take you to Kirtland, and they bring you into the Newell K. Whitney store, to the second floor, the School of the Prophets, where famously the word of wisdom was received or delivered. Right?
Chewing tobacco. So you
Yeah. We scrubbed the floors off and all that. But that very room, and you with your district that you came out with, or the missionaries that you came out with, you are able to sort of consecrate your time to the Lord, right? Hey, I'm nervous. They gave us as much time as we wanted to be able to be there in prayer, quiet, no other tours coming in. Church owned the Newell K. Whitney store, which oddly enough, and fun fact, for like the first 6 months when the church owned the Newell K. Whitney store, it was a bar. Well, that lease was expiring. The church owned a bar, and everyone always thinks that's sort of an interesting fact. I like to throw it out because I think it is. That's neither here nor there. Praying, consecrating your mission, and then you're able to have this opportunity where then after that, they take you, to the mission home. You have the night, and then the next day is transfers. But that's literally the first thing. And then on the other side of the mission, the very last thing that they do before you go to the airport is you're able to go back to the School of Prophets, and you essentially have a time to return and report. And it's the last thing. They take you from there to the airport and say, thanks for your service, good luck, have fun, all the things. And it was a special experience just because you come to learn all that went on in that room and being able to see the significance and everything like that. But it was a thing that you sort of always knew was going to happen, and so that reckoning, that makes it sound super dramatic, but knowing that you were going to be able to be there and have to kneel before God and be like, hey, how was this? What did you do? Did you make the best of your time? And it was unique with the elders that I came out with. You could hear just like the kind of almost like the, not wailing again, that sounds super dramatic, but you could hear tears. And in some cases, I knew them to be tears of joy, and in other cases, I think it was tears of missed opportunity, or things that maybe they wish they had done or had gone differently, or any number of those things. So it was a highly sacred experience from that perspective, to just be able to be where so many things happened and be like, oh, that's right there. This, that's literally where this happened. The dedication of the Kirtland Temple. That's here. That's this building. I'm standing in the building where that happened. The saints record that there were angels on the roof. That's this roof that I'm looking at right here. So much of
that just lends a whole new energy to it, to be in the literal spot that it happened.
Yeah.
History come alive.
Yeah. And it feels a little less woo for me, right? Oh, this is a place that exists. Okay. Yeah, I've been there, so I know it exists. Whether or not I believe the things, further from it, all that kind of stuff, then we start getting into some other things. But it's like, there is a place called Kirtland. How do I know? Because I have been there. I have walked there. I have felt the Spirit there. I have brought people there to feel the Spirit. So did you unique and lovely.
Did you take note that it was called, the words on it says the Church of Christ?
That doesn't sound unfamiliar to me. Yes, I probably. I don't remember that necessarily. What I do remember sort of the transition, and I've had the opportunity to talk to Community of Christ members about this, is when I went there, I was like, when I first went there, I was like, why doesn't the church own it? And all the, this sort of like, we're going to get this back from you one day sort of spirit. And in the time that I lived and served and taught, there was this sort of transformation. And I think it's sort of symbolic of like my faith in general, where I just was like, I think that matters less. I think the sacrifice, the example, the spirit that's here, I feel like matters more, as opposed to the deed to this property on Chillicothe Road belongs to the Brigham. I was able to see past the some of those things and just gain a deeper testimony for what they were.
I was actually going to ask Richie if you feel like serving your mission enhanced your testimony.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. So it's interesting. I joke around about this a lot on the Cultural Hall, the show available in podcast form that we do, and we can talk about why we call it that, but whatever.
Whose link we may put in the notes.
In the show notes. Perfect. Thank you for doing
Absolutely.
that.
Actually, real quick, it says that on the outside, it says the Church of the Latter-day Saints, not the Church of Christ. The Church of Christ was a few years earlier. Then it became the Church of Latter-day Saints, and they built the Kirtland Temple. And then in 1838, it became the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They put it all together.
So to say that that on my mission I gained my testimony is 100% true. I can remember very distinctly being in the MTC in Provo. I was there for like 2 weeks and 4 days or something, very, very short, and long enough to gain a lot of weight on Hostess products, but that's neither here nor there. And I remember sitting in a class, and when it dawned on me that the Book of Mormon was another testament of Jesus Christ, that it was Christ among the people here in America, and receiving not only the spiritual witness but also just like the knowledge of that. And I know that seems super basic, but I'd never read it before. I just sort of went on a mission, and this was before a lot of things that have changed since the turn of the millennia. But I went out and I was like, did you guys realize that this is what this book is about? To all the people in my MTC like class. And they're like, yeah, why do you think we're going? And I was like, wait, so you all knew this already, that this is Christ in the Americas? And it's so seemingly ridiculous, but that's how very little I knew. And so then to be able to, accomplish things that there's no way that I couldn't have done without being led by the Spirit of the Lord, like that was super cool. These happy accidents, these serendipitous moments, these answer to prayers, these lives that were changed because I was able to be an instrument in God's hands. Like it has served me so very well, and it also has it was such a strengthening point for me that I don't know, and we'll probably get into some of those things like my eventual excommunication and then my even more eventual rebaptism in the church. I don't know that I would have made it through the excommunication and the rebaptism without the experiences gained on my mission. Those testimony fortifying moments that occurred. So yeah, it was cool. So much fun.
Wow. I want to take two little baby steps backwards.
Sure.
You mentioned gaining weight eating Hostess products.
Mm-hmm.
On my mission, I served in the Madrid, Spain mission, and there was a little town called Móstoles, and our apartment was just above a cookie factory.
Oh, geez.
Where they made one thing, lemon butter cookies.
Oh.
And they were, well, I got to tell you, they were orgasmic. That's why we had to be careful biting into them, because we didn't want to go to the mission president's office and confess that we'd had cookie orgasms. But anyway, it was horrible, because every time we'd walk in, the lady would give us a paper bag full of cookies that had broken, that they don't put in the boxes.
Sure.
So I think I gained, a good 60, 70 pounds.
Yeah.
Not really. We were walking so much. I don't think we could gain weight, but it was delicious. Just
Yeah.
had to share that.
Oh yeah, for sure. That makes me want a lemon cookie so bad right now. Thanks a lot.
I know. I know. I have no lemon cookies. As a matter of fact, I have nothing that would satisfy that urge right now for one of those lemon butter cookies.
Well, I'll check the mail. We'll make sure that I'll give you address so you can send them. Maybe we can order. I bet that cookie shop you can order them online, but that sounds absolutely delicious. You said you wanted to take 2 steps back for a couple of things. Was that the only thing you wanted to go back for?
No, it was just a couple of steps back for
it.
that thing right there.
Right.
What you said about gaining weight eating Hostess treats, I kind of got a kick out of that because it made me think of my cookie experience.
Yeah.
There you go.
That was a great place.
So upon your return, do you resume going to the Southern Utah University?
I did. Went back to SUU, and it was interesting. So before I served a mission, I had always really been interested in the arts. Specifically, I had always wanted to take a dance class. Now, I'll sort of wade into this carefully because it's a different time and a different thing. But all through high school, I had always wanted to take a dance class, and it wasn't very common for a man to take a dance class in that time. And for whatever reason, I don't think it was religiously constructed. I think it was just socially constructed. For whatever reason in my brain, I had sort of thought, if I take a dance class, guys who dance are gay. Thus, if I take a dance class, I'll be gay. And I didn't want to be gay. And so I didn't take a dance class. And it sounds so crude coming out of my mouth, but there isn't another way for me to explain like how I felt about that at that time. Again, this is, the year, my high school years were 95 to 98. There had been some bullying where people were like, oh, you are gay, like all these things. And so I wanted to be as clear as I could that wasn't who I was or what I wanted or anything like that. And then I had the opportunity to train an elder on my mission who he and I so much alike. And he had let me know that before he went on his mission that he had taken dance classes and enjoyed it quite a bit. And I said, oh, hey, well, wait, you took dance classes. So like, are you on this mission thing to like, try and, serve the gay away? I don't think I put it that crudely or anything like that, but I know that was the conversation. We served in the country, had lots of walking days. And he's like, no, man, you can take dance classes and not be gay. Again, so rudimentary, so whatever. But I was like, oh, that's possible. So when I got back home from my mission, I was like, oh, I would like to do what I would like to do without any sort of fear of like a class could make me a certain way or anything like that. I just want to do what I want to do, and I'll figure out what that means for a future perspective.
Sometimes in our formative years, we need to hear something like that to shape our current worldview. Also, even sometimes saying something out loud that you always thought you believed in sometimes can confirm your belief. And sometimes you could say, I don't really believe that. That happened to me when I said something. I don't know what it was. And then afterwards I thought, I don't really believe that. It felt okay to think it. It felt bad to say it. And so I think a lot of times when we write and when we have talk and when we can express ourselves, it can be part of the forming of our worldview. And if you just stay quiet and if you don't do anything, you don't ask questions, then you don't maybe get enough information to adjust your worldview to, what you might like it to be. And so you take some dance classes at
what type of dance, Richie?
All types of dance. So my first year back from my mission, I auditioned for and was able to make it onto the Southern Utah University ballroom dance team. So it was like partner dancing. We met early in the morning. We did a performance tour in Hawaii at the end of that year. Super fun. I'd always liked going swing dancing, not country swing, but like old-timey swing dancing before I went on my mission. Loved doing that, so found my way into doing that. But then was like, hey, you know what? I like doing this partner dancing. So it was modern dancing. It was, jazz dance. I was doing musical theater. I, dove headlong into doing any and all kinds, tap dancing. I don't know that I was ever really good at any of those things necessarily, but I just loved it. I found it to be expressive. I found it to be where I wanted to be, and just said, yeah, I'm going to do this.
Did you consume like a lot of musicals and stuff as well, and say, wow, that's a cool move, like West Side Story or other type of musical dance things?
Yeah, so in high school, I had done the dances that were in the different shows that I was in. So West Side Story was actually one of the ones that we did in high school, and I got to be a part of it. I think it probably...
a shark or a jet?
Anyone who can see me, if you're listening to this, you may have a question, but if you can see me, I am so very much a jet. There is not a shark feature about me. Unless
when you're a jet, you're a jet, right?
All the way from your first cigarette to your last dying day. Yeah, no, I am a purebred jet. Unless you are doing it in like Utah County, maybe I could be justifiably a shark. But I think in a day and an age now, there's not a chance I could ever be a shark.
So you were in choral things and in dance and in plays. Did you also learn like the history of a lot of these things?
Yeah, fascinated by like old vaudevillian kind of things. I don't know that there were some that really got into, especially it's Southern Utah University in Cedar City. That's where the college is. There is a world-renowned Tony Award-winning Shakespeare Festival. I didn't really get into that necessarily. Sort of like your 20th century up to current day is the stuff that I found myself being more attracted to, but certainly knew a lot about it. Found myself fascinated by the entertainment in that way. A large part of it where it first started, and I can still remember at 7 years old, my grandmother, my paternal grandmother, she was like teacher of the year in theater. She's state renowned, all of these things. Continued to do productions. She did them at family parties. We would do them in community. She did all sorts of things like that. And I can remember seeing South Pacific at 7 years old and being like, so these people get to go on stage and they get to wear cool costumes and they get to pretend to be someone else and they get the attention from the audience and they get the camaraderie of other cast members. It was like, this is everything. And then was able to start kind of putting it together for how I wanted to do it from that point. High school allowed me the opportunity, then college allowed me the opportunity, and then professionally allowed me the opportunity. And so it was a difficult thing when I got back from my mission to convince parents that it's like, yeah, I'm going to take a bunch of dance and theater classes. And as far as a profession goes, I don't know how it's going to work, but I just want to go do this. That was a little bit of a difficult haul, but I did it because I just was like, I don't know how I'm going to do something else.
So you majored in the arts?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, yeah. Your
parents majored in theater and minored in dance.
How are you going to make a living?
Yeah. 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 And have been able to in a way that it's maybe not in the way that when I was, 16 thought that I would, or when I was 21 thought, oh, this is the path and the plan. But, you cobble stuff together and you go, what do I love? How does doing those things make a living? What are some things that I allow to be different so that it can work out that way? But by and large, doing the things that I feel like God literally created me to do and being able to make a living doing it.
Right. And one thing that we probably know happened to you was that as you were leaving your mission president said words of advice that it's now time to go find a woman and start making little Mormons, right?
Yeah. So funnily enough, no, 0%. I had
What?
5 mission presidents because of some health things and other experiences. I never once from any of those mission presidents had any sort of
This is the next step for
find a
you.
wife. Here's the next step. There wasn't there. The closest that they got to something like that was stay close to the Lord and he'll guide you. There was never and it's going to look like finishing your college degree or getting a job to support a family or finding a spouse. There was plenty that I felt personally and certainly that socially, returning to a singles ward, made me feel, but it was never from the mission president or the sister mission president, gave me any sort of inclination that was like, that was what I needed to do.
They didn't just say that to us. The mission presidents, both of them, would hold us down and pound it into our head. Pound it into our head. Go home, get married.
Yeah.
Have kids.
So that's awesome for you, Richie, that you didn't have that sort of directive from a person next to God almost, right? Mission president.
Yeah, I mean, in your eyes, certainly, right? This is, for many people, I feel like, if not their first outside their own nuclear home father figure, it's one of the first. And, mine has just recently died, and I can remember the conversations that we had. And he, the one that was for the most duration of the time that I served, talked a lot about, like, doing things that you're passionate about, having like positive self-outlook or a positive self-esteem. Those were the things that he addressed. He's like, a lot of that stuff that you'll be worried about will figure itself out. Know who you are in relation to God and know who you are in relation to yourself, and the other stuff will figure out. It's a tremendous blessing as far as that goes.
Yeah, so there was no pressure, but you still dated, I assume.
Oh, so much. And to be clear, in the wards coming back home, certainly felt it. And I can remember like being home for 6 months and being like, well, I haven't met anyone yet. Well, I'm not, I'm not worthy, or I'm doing something wrong, or why doesn't God want me to be married, or any of these kind of things. And then after about another 6 months, so been home for a year, is when I was excommunicated. And so then it became the idea of marriage sort of was taken off of the table, because I wanted to be married in the temple, and that was something that couldn't take place because I couldn't go to the temple. So it sort of became a non-issue at that point.
Right. Well, one thing I was thinking about that you majored in dance and other things, whatever, but you were on the ballroom team. So you got to do something that you didn't get to do for 2 years, and that's like touch girls all the time.
Sure. It was
So
great.
that'd be pretty fun.
Yeah. I mean, to be clear, with consent and in dancing formations, but yeah, being able to get right back into this and have this experience. And not everyone on the dance group were members of the church, and so that was eye-opening. And not everyone on the group had the same attitude towards like sexual experience or like sensual experience. And so being able to be in that and going, how do I feel about this? Do I feel like I've always been told that I felt, or do I feel differently? And what does that look like? And how would that come about? So yeah, it was tremendously valuable. And theater, offered that same thing. Subject matter of plays allowed me to go, oh, hey, this is sort of a parable of a church or a religious organization. How do I feel about that? And how this particular work lays over a religious tradition. Okay, well, I don't know that I like that. Can I still be in that, in that faith tradition? Yes, I can. But can I be different than, some of these examples that I'm seeing through the works of art? Yes, I can. So
did the gospel doctrine have any effect on what parts you chose to play in different plays and performances?
Yeah, interesting. I would tell you, even up to this point, that I have never, mostly never played any sort of part or anything where trying to think about this, make sure that I'm representing myself accurately. Like, I've never been in a show where like I'm saying the F word, right? That to me, I sort of always a lot of language, not, and I guess I would say because I myself personally don't say the F word, right? Even today now, right? I'm calling it the F word like I'm a 10-year-old saying, he said the F word, but I don't, like, that's a word that I choose not to use. And so it would be difficult for me in any sort of artistic production to say that because that doesn't represent who I am. And so that was sort of a thing. I can remember my senior year, I did a play that was very adult content related where I played, it was set in a college like setting, and I played a date rapist. And so it was a very heavy content, but I felt like it was a powerful message, and so I could step into that because I felt like there was benefit that was coming from it. But
was it uncomfortable for you to stand there in the middle of the stage, full frontal nudity?
Yeah, well, I wasn't full frontal nudity, but it was like it was. I appreciate that. There's not much to see, so people would be highly disappointed. They want their money back. But it was interesting to me because I felt like what I was portraying was valuable enough for people to know about, that there was not really any sort of question for it for me. And then I also, like, there was this part of like becoming this person on stage who, like, for all intents and purposes, a rape was enacted on stage. Having to step into that like mind frame that was both scary and also like that the gospel was able to like sort of reaffirm who I was, if that makes sense, right? You're creating a character, and then you have to step into the character, and then you have to be this thing and feel as if you're this person, and then to be able to bring yourself out of it so that you aren't feeling like you're actually that person.
Well, I'm putting forth a message at the same time. So
yes, yeah. Gospel was pivotal to keep me kind of straight as far as that goes. But one of the most sacred experiences, it sounds weird to put it in that way, but one of the most sacred experiences on stage that I've had is portraying that, and it was moving for a lot of people that were able to see it. Because normally I'm, the funny guy, I'm the it doesn't much matter guy, I'm the, is it good for, but to be able to step into that and to feel all of those things and be able to share that, and then this overall message about how destructive that can be. And
is that a famous play, or was it a locally written play?
It is, I don't know famous necessarily, but it was not locally written. It's a play called Hush, that people could find if they wanted to search it. But
yeah,
so
you mentioned even talking about it. Actually,
you mentioned getting excommunicated. I think you're like 22 or 3 at the time.
Yeah,
and so you don't have to say anything about it, but you could tell us afterwards. Were you on the path to come back to church, or how long did that take?
Yeah, great question. So it's available for people to, if they are interested in kind of knowing I don't know that I've ever shared super nitty gritty, but for time purposes, if people search my name in excommunication, I've discussed it on various podcasts in depth. Sexual impropriety for someone who's been through the temple with other people not being married, right? So a lot of people will be like, oh, well, he's probably having sex with a lot of people. That wasn't what it was. I was a victim in some way of a bishop/stake president roulette, where people will hear what I did and what I didn't do, quite frankly, and be like, wait, you were excommunicated for that? Yeah, certainly. I mentioned that I had been dating someone. Her and I thought, hey, we may want to get married, and so I wanted to begin the repentance process so I could be in the temple. So we had several months of no incident, went in to talk to the bishop. Bishop said, you should probably talk to the stake president. Stake president was brand new. No one in the room knew me. And there were some circumstances that led to them to say, yeah, you know what, we feel like you should be excommunicated. And so I was.
That's right. They can lay down the law and really not suffer any consequences from that. Where
right. There's not repercussions. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I remember the first question I asked was, well, I don't have any underwear. Am I all right to wear my garments tonight? And then I can go buy some underwear tomorrow. It was interesting that was sort of the first thing that affected me. And then I remember that first Sunday, you know, when you were excommunicated, you can still attend, but you're not, you know, you can't pray, you can't hold callings. You're sort of a silent participant within the congregation.
Self-othering a little bit.
Yeah. And so I remember sitting in the parking lot and being like, well, listen, if God doesn't want me there, then I don't want to be there. And ultimately I gave in and went in and stayed close as far as the church goes, going to church, paying tithing, you know, doing all the things. But when people would ask me, hey, would you be willing to offer the prayer? I would say fairly directly, either I would love to, but I cannot, or I would love to, but I cannot because of a circumstance that you may or may not be aware of, or I would say I would love to, but God doesn't want me to. And then people just didn't want to dive into the water for it. And they'd just be like, all right, listen, I just needed to find someone to say the prayer. We'll find, you know, we'll ask Brother Johnson over there. He'll do it.
Sure.
Richie, was it your goal from the time of excommunication until you were rebaptized? Was it your goal to get rebaptized, or did you take a little break from living the gospel?
Well, I mean, can both be true? Because there was certainly, like, I always intended to be rebaptized, but being a 20-something gentleman, that's no excuse, and dating, I found it to be much harder when I didn't feel like I had the rules that I had previously to obey those rules that wouldn't be necessary for me to be rebaptized, right?
Yeah, so there are fewer sins now.
Yeah, exactly, right? So I always wanted to be baptized. So it took until I was married, so almost a decade later, to be rebaptized. And then, you know, my wife and I, my ex-wife and I, we got married in August, and I was rebaptized that December. So
you didn't get married until you were in your mid-30s?
Oh, I was almost a decade. It was probably 9 years. So I was 30 and some change when I got married, and then 30 and a little more change when I got rebaptized.
And so had you done some things with your degree to make money then in the meanwhile? Did you start businesses? What did you do?
Yeah, great question. So that same mission companion that taught me that you could dance and not be gay also was like, I can't wait to go back. I want to work in the radio industry. And I said, radio? I'd never even considered that. When I went back to SUU that fall, in addition to doing the ballroom dance team, there was a radio class. They had a radio station at the campus. It was full, and I went and I talked to the professor, and I said, please, hey, I need to do this. I want to be a part of this. You won't regret it. I got into that radio class. That particular radio class allowed you to instantly be on the radio doing a show, and we did myself and a woman named Ashley, we did a show on Tuesday and Thursday nights for a couple hours that we talked about dating. And I can remember only having done it a couple of weeks. We were sitting at the subway on 2nd North in Cedar City, and the table next to us behind us was talking about what we had talked about on the radio the night before, talking about how funny it was and how engaging, and I can't believe he did that on a date, or, you know, whatever the experience was. And I remember thinking, oh, this is really cool.
Yeah.
So it was somewhat comical, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Just, we would talk about, like, you know, dating mistakes and tips so that you don't, you know, sometimes they would be tips for safety, but sometimes tips so you don't have to go out with the person that you don't want to, or, you know, just we would talk all about everything with dating. And to just hear someone be so tickled by what we had done, I was like, oh, that's super cool. So
I did a show about 6 months ago on like 10 cheap dates you can do. Something like that, with a guy that when he was a professional dater at BYU, decided that he would write all kinds of different things to do because you run out. He didn't want to just do the same boring things over again. Go to the,
sure.
Go get ice cream, go see a movie, whatever.
Sure.
So he
and it
wanted
gets
to get
spendy
creative.
too.
And then he wrote a little book that he sold online. And so we talked about his book and
oh, that's awesome.
like 10 top dates. And so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then Randy had his own radio show for a little while. Right, Randy?
I was a co-host on the radio show.
Okay.
It was a cooking show in Memphis, Tennessee.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's an addictive way. Yeah, I mean, being able to entertain people is something that it's always been not only important to me. And sometimes people are like, "Oh, you're a fame whore." Then no, like to me, I know that not everyone can entertain people, and I consider it to be sort of like a godly gift in that if I can give people a break from what they're constantly worrying about, they're frustrated about, just to be able to be like, hey, for 2 hours I didn't think about how someone had passed, how my marriage is this. That person was entertaining. I genuinely consider that to be a great gift. And so I leaned into not only the radio, not only the theater, but did that. And then through some internships, I got to work with a radio show in Salt Lake that is still together, which is rare for these days and these ages. But they've been together since. Yeah, paid me money. They hired me right out of college. First, I was their phone screener, and then I became their producer. And then I got the opportunity to fill in and do other on-air segments, and I did that for almost 15 years.
Wow.
And then I left. The show was on an alternative rock station, X96 in Salt Lake. The radio show is called Radio from Hell. And then I left Radio from Hell and went to work at BYU for BYU Radio to work on a show called The Lisa Show. The host being Lisa Valentine Clark. It was supposed to be the Lisa and Richie Show or some iteration like that. I went down there, and then that promise never came through. And then about 2 or 3 years into that, said, I'm going to leave and do something else. So about
is that
20
the
years.
Radio show?
What's that?
Is that the radio show you referred to? The one that for which people most know you? Yeah,
Radio from Hell is by far what most people would know me from.
Radio.
Very popular, number 1 rated. We were in Rolling Stone. Yeah.
What years to what years? What year?
So I first started interning for them in 2003, and then I left in 2019.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the format was what format was it?
The station itself was alternative rock, and then the show was just talk. It was 4 hours talk in the morning.
Like a morning commute drive.
Yeah. Yeah. Drive time. Yep.
Drive talk.
That's a popular time.
Yeah.
And so
I'm honored. I learned so much from them, but ultimately when push came to shove and I was like, hey, I'm going to need some more opportunity, they're like, look elsewhere because it's not happening here. And then went to BYU and I said, hey, you know what? I feel like, this is what was promised me and I'm going to need some more opportunity. And they were like, not here. That then I quit, and I had been doing private event and wedding DJ business on the side. And I just said, we're going to make a go of it. Called my wife and said, I just quit my job. So I hope we do this.
When did you start DJing?
So 2009, New Year's Eve to 2010 was my first event. And what had happened was there were some people that were getting married who listened to the radio show and said, hey, will you come DJ our wedding? We know that you DJ on the radio. And I was like, that is not at all the same thing.
Right.
Up to that point in my life, I had been to my sister's wedding reception and I had been to my brother's temple wedding. and then they had a backyard reception. So I had no idea like how weddings worked. I had a buddy who worked in the industry, and I said, "Hey, what do I do? These people want me to DJ their wedding." And he said, "Well, make up a number that you don't think anyone will pay, and then it puts it on them, and then you don't have to do it." I don't remember what I quoted these people.
But you thought it was a lot.
Yeah, I thought it was a lot, and they're like, "Done." And then I went back to my buddy, and I was like, "They said yes," and they're like, "Well, you're going to have to learn how to do it."
Sucker.
That's right. Yeah. So you have them write a list of music that they like or genres.
Well, this is how like, this is how God leads my life. It's like, good luck. Here we go. He came and helped me with the ceremony. Again, it's New Year's Eve, 2009, 2010. We're at this very bougie restaurant in one of our canyons here in Salt Lake. And he helps me with the ceremony. And then he says, "I've got an event I've got to go to. Here's my computer. Here's a folder of music. If you play anything from this folder of music, you'll probably be just fine. Call me tomorrow and let me know how it goes." And I didn't know that he was going to leave me. I thought he was helping me the entire night. He's like, "No, I got stuff I got to do." So it helped considerably that it was an already paid for bar. So everyone could drink as much as they want. They also all had rides. They had a bus that was coming to pick them up, so they didn't have to drink responsibly by any means. And it was New Year's Eve. And so, I'm doing this, playing this music, and everyone's having a great time. And I was like, oh, there's something very cool about being able to facilitate such an epic evening. And I'm sure it was terrible, right? But for these people, it was great. And, being able to walk into it, I went, oh, this is great. And then I went to work for him for about 7 years. And then he and I had some different things that, he wanted one thing and I wanted a different thing. So then I said, I'll finish out the stuff that I've committed to with you. And then I started my own company. And then now I have people that work for me. So.
Okay. So that was kind of cool that you had a friend that you partner with for a little while and learn the business. And he had his own playlist.
Yeah.
I guess it's all on digitized.
Some people that have been in it a while are like, you don't know how good you have it. Milk crates and records and tapes and queuing it up and all that stuff. And they're right. Yeah. I mean, when I go and do it, I bring a computer that has gigabytes upon gigabytes of computer.
Some drive of somebody's favorite music or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had delusions of grandeur, thinking I wanted to be a DJ. And I started off, I did 2 gigs, and it was for the same company. And they weren't even gigs. I mean, it was just the company for which I was working wanted me to be the DJ. It didn't take but those 2 gigs to realize I never wanted to try it again, because I had to use cassette tapes, and I had to pre-record everything so that it was all ready to go. And now, with the digital world, it's just click play. Yep. I understand his sentiment about, having to you're either going to spin wax or you're going to, the cassette tapes were horrible. I mean, trying to pull that off.
So I'm blessed that way, but it certainly is more a matter now of, because anyone can get MP3s, anyone can essentially do that, being able to differentiate yourself by being able to be so customer service based. That's what I think makes, what I do now more unique than some of the other people that do it. So it's sort of leaning into those different things.
Currently DJing right now? Oh, cool. Okay.
And say that on your company.
The name of the company is Best DJ in Utah, and the website bestdjinutah.com. So if anyone ever wants to party, I travel all over the place, mostly the Intermountain West, but I've gone, all the way to the Pacific Northwest. And this next year, I'm going down to Florida to do a 3-day conference. So if ever anyone has a need for something like that.
So the Food and Drug and DJ administration is not like on your back saying truth in advertising or anything like that. You can just say whatever.
Yeah. Well, interesting. So naming things is I don't think people realize how hard it is to name something. And I've experienced this in multiple times. So I started once upon a time a comedy festival here in Salt Lake, and I wanted it to be very obvious what it was. So we called it the Salt Lake Comedy Festival. When I was thinking about names for the company that I used to work for was called Life of the Party, and that's sort of a common thing. So when he went to go buy the domain, it was like life of the just like this, difficult thing to say. And so I thought, well, when
Like
people
the
are
Church of
Google
Jesus
searching,
Christ of Latter-day Saints.
exactly. I thought, well, what will people Google search? They'll search DJ or DJ in Utah or best DJ. So I was like, well, let's just make it a shorter trip and make it bestdjinutah.com. Similar sentiments to what you were saying. Other DJs were like, what makes you the best? So I have feverishly, in the time that I've owned my business, made it a point to be the DJ company with the most and highest ratings, so that if people really want to come at me, I can say, listen, I know what makes me the best. I don't know. It's arbitrary, but also scoreboard. Go ahead and look at that.
Yeah.
Best DJ in Utah, but in
.com.
Las Vegas, I kind of suck. Or
yeah, a mediocre in Idaho, fair to Midland in Nevada. No, again, we step in and do a lot of things where we take care of, the night more than just particularly the music that people really appreciate. So,
it's the personality that you put into it, and the entertainment value other than the music.
Yes.
A DJ can make or break an event with
agreed.
his personality and keeping the people enthusiastic and dancing. And
I've seen The Wedding Singer, and that's a similar thing where you either do good or do bad for everybody.
Yeah.
And so we'll include the links in the description. I don't know how many people ever click on the description, but for the people that know, you smart people out there, the 5 viewers that know how to do that, there'll be a quick link to those things. And another thing is, we started off by saying that you did the Cultural Hall. And what year did you start that, and how did you figure on doing that? What was going through your mind back then?
Yeah, great question. So our first episode ever recorded was April 6th. For those that are, church-wise, they know that's a pretty important date within the church, not because of the Cultural Hall, but we sort of thought it was symbolic that way. April 6th, 2011. I had wanted to do a podcast for a couple of years. And again, this is in the day when there was not very many, but one of the guys that I worked with on the radio show, he had started a podcast, and his podcast was about like comic books and Marvel movies and all of these things. And that's what he really enjoyed. And I thought, I love the idea of having something specialized. I don't love the idea of talking about that. So I thought, what do I find fascinating? What could I talk for hours about? And it was, the church, whether it be the church culture, or because of my unique experiences in Kirtland, the church history, or, as I'm sort of coming of age, finding my way through excommunication and then rebaptism, being able to share a unique experience as far as that goes. There was a lot that I felt that was unique about me that I could share. And so I think in 2009, maybe, I thought, okay, what do I want to name this? Back to this naming thing we were talking about. And it was so very clear to me that what I wanted to call it was the Cultural Hall. That's what I wanted. People would recommend things like, call it green Jello and carrot slices. And I was like, no, that's not it. That's not what I want. And so I wanted to own the rights to all these things. And so I looked up who owns theculturalhall.com, and someone already owned it. And so I sought out the owner of theculturalhall.com, which, funnily enough, was John DeLynn of Mormon Stories. He owned it. And so I reached out to him I reached out to him in maybe 2009, early 2010, and said, hey, sell me this. You're not doing anything with it. I'd love it. And he's like, no. And then a couple of months later, come on, sell me this thing. Why don't you sell me this thing? You're not doing anything. no, I'm not going to. I'm not going to. And then if there is a spiritual gift I have, well, it's one of persistence. And so I think I finally just wore him down and said, come on, it's been 18 months or 2 years since I first contacted you. You haven't done anything with this. Please allow me the opportunity to purchase this from you. So I did. And then the rest, as they say, is history.
That is a good story.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah.
Was it? I don't need a price, but was
I'll
it?
tell you, it was
expensive?
It was $100, and I think he probably regrets it. But for me, early in career, that kind of stuff, it was maybe a little expensive for me, but I'm grateful to do it because, again, the holdup for me was not, is there a show that's there that I could do? Is there enough content in any of that? It was like, this is the name that I want, and I just couldn't get excited without.
No, it's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, probably.
Yeah, hundreds of dollars, maybe.
Hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, hundreds.
Quadrupled your investment.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and so, well, I, probably didn't really know about you, but then there's some other guy that wanted to be called Cultural Hall, and I know that you probably said, "Hey, I paid good money for this," and now we know the story, so that makes some sense why you would fight for the name.
Well, and I'm not sure. So there's sort of two parts, right? John DeLynn, those 15 plus years ago, owned it. But then within the last couple years, there was a YouTube channel called Cultural Hall that came on, and it was fairly anti the church. And I was like, hey, man, I don't want to be this guy, but also I've been doing this a long time. I'd really rather appreciate that you not do this. And it was like, nah, it's no big deal. Not many people, not much traction as far as that goes. And then he sort of doubled down on what he was doing, and people started to get us confused. Guests would start going, I don't want to go on that show. I saw what you did. And I'd go, oh, no, that's not me. We're the Cultural Hall as opposed to Cultural Hall. And so, he
changed just Culture or something like that.
Yeah, then he changed to Culture. And I don't think he actually is doing it anymore. There was some...
Yeah.
level of like doxing that came online and
his wife said, I don't want to mess with that anymore. So he said, okay.
Yeah. So he acquiesced as far as that goes. But yeah, I mean, it was a thing where given now, I think I'd be a little bit more aggressive if anything else came on the scene. But for me, it's just been sort of a passion thing for such a long time that I would hope that people would respect it. And now I just realize that not everyone does that. And so in stepping into some other things, I have had to say, now, guys, here first with a track record of, a couple of episodes a week for 15 years, step off. Please and thank you. So,
do you have a recollection of a show that kind of went viral for you?
Yes.
Like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So this is probably back a decade or so. Does the name Jodi Arias sound familiar to you guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
So she, for people who don't know, bringing them in the loop, she is a woman who converted to the LDS Church. Her boyfriend, they were sleeping together. She ended up murdering him, or allegedly, whatever we need to say around that, right? She's in jail for that. We, through some performing that I do, performed at a theater and found out that the elder who taught and baptized her was a guy that I was performing in a show with. And this was when the trial was on, and she is one of these beautiful, defendants that people in America like to get behind for better or worse. And so it was a lot of eyes on this, and a lot of eyes in the church within it as well. So I interviewed him and said, what was it like? You were certainly tangential to some of these things. Was there any sort of thought that you would be here now years later talking about how she had murdered or allegedly murdered? And so that got picked up by like Headline News and CNN, and they
who did you interview, Richie?
One of the elders that taught her and then baptized her.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So
this happened near my home, and my son was good friends with Travis.
Oh, interesting.
Slaughtered. And I was asked to come sit at the crime scene.
Oh, wow.
And that's a whole different topic.
Oh, my
but
gosh.
to see
Oh, my
what I
gosh.
felt and what happened, and yeah, it was right there in our neighborhood.
Yeah, just the most gruesome, terrible thing ever. And so
Oh my gosh.
for better or for worse, as far as like it being the most listened to, most like popular viral episode, it was that, because it was this peek at, here is this person who did these things. There was no sort of inclination that she might be something like this. You didn't have any sort of, discernment or spiritual, any of that kind of stuff. So yeah, kind of a fascinating thing. There have been some other ones along the way for different reasons.
Mormon true crime is pretty big, especially
Yeah.
since that one, maybe.
Sure.
I don't know.
Sure. And an interesting story enough. So it wasn't just me that started the Culture Hall. It was myself and a girl whom I had dated, but we weren't dating at the time. Her and I started it, and it very quickly became a difference of opinion in that she wanted to do things one way, and I did not want to do those things that way. And so I sort of said, you know what, I put the effort to get the website and to do this. I'm going to just say thank you and say good day. And she has since started a YouTube channel that has, a couple 100,000 subscribers.
Holy smokes.
Where she does hidden crime. I should tell you what it is so you can put it in the.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell us.
I've got to find it real quick.
Okay.
I think it's called Hidden True Crime. Her name at the time was Lauren Johnson. It's now Lauren Matthias. Yep.
Yeah.
Hidden True Crime is what it's called.
She said to me a year ago that she'd be honored to come on my show, and it hasn't happened yet.
Huh? Well, go after her. For so many of us, it's just, you got to catch us in a time where we're not doing 7 million things.
That's right. She's in the midst of a brouhaha right now.
Yeah. Yep.
Where things are happening around her that's not pleasant. But anyhow, so that's pretty exciting. I mean, every time Randy and I do a show, there's always some connections here and there that just pop up. And there is this big connection with Randy and the Arias situation. And Randy's probably going to go watch that show.
And the Lori Vallow situation.
Oh, yeah.
So Randy went on a date with Lori Vallow.
Oh, wow.
Double date.
Yeah. Randy dated his wife. Randy went with his wife to a date with Lori Vallow and Lori Vallow's brother. They were the date.
The trigger man.
Oh, gee, Alex.
Trigger man.
Is his name.
Yeah, Alex.
Oof.
Yeah. So
I was good friends with Alex.
Yeah, it's a small world. It's a small church. It's a small
lot of stuff happens around Mesa. That's what I'm just going to be some sort of true crime vortex going on.
You know what I wanted to ask you, Richie, is being a podcaster yourself and being in the know with the Mormon news and things happening. Do you ever listen to podcasts that might be considered, I don't want to say anti-Mormon, but more of the critic podcasts of the church, like John DeLynn and some of those?
Yeah, interesting. I don't listen to John DeLynn, but that's not just specifically because of his content. I look at things when they're 3 or 4 hours long and I go, get to the point quicker, my friend. There's no reason. And that comes from broadcasting probably, right? So, I mean, people can at me as far as that goes, but I just think, man, if I can't get to what I need to get to with someone in like an hour or 90 minutes, if it's really, really thing, then I'm not doing my job that way.
So yeah, we cut out 3 hours of the show just by not asking you what your favorite primary song was.
Yeah.
And other things like that. That's me choosing John DeLynn.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess there's a place for it. And certainly there's a way and people enjoy it and stuff like that. But to me, I'm just like, we've got Randy here. Randy sat at the murder scene of Jodi Arias. How did that happen? I would love to chat with you about that. And maybe we go, oh, you've been a member your whole life. You've never seen anything like that. We build some context around that. But I have really tried to be respectful of people's time in things like that. And when I see things like that and people just continue to go on and on and on, I just go, I don't have time for that. Someone tell me what that's like. I'll read a thing or I'll watch a short YouTube video. I'm not afraid to answer, I think, what the real substance of your question is. I'm not afraid of things that are critical. In fact, I tend to think that the gospel can stand for itself, and so I don't need to be a protector for the gospel. I probably, so many people will say things like, well, how can both be true? How can Brigham Young be racist and be a prophet of God? And I tend to think that those things can both be true, and I think some people would dismiss that. And so I just have a lot of space to go, yeah, okay. He probably was terrible. And could he be a prophet of God? Yes. How do I get there? Well, I can walk along there if you really want to know that. But I don't think that it has to be, well, if he this, then he can't that. Or if he that, then he can't this.
Well, I noticed that you don't limit your content just to pro LDS, pro LDS, pro LDS.
Mm-hmm.
You're a pretty fair and balanced reporter when it comes to your news show.
Yeah.
When you present the latest. For instance, I just heard you talking about Wade Christensen.
Oof, Christofferson, yes.
Or Christofferson, I mean, yeah.
Oof.
And but I mean, there's a lot of pro LDS channels, I think, that are just not even bring that up. Just glaze over that.
Yeah. Yes. And to me that just the thing that like I would never go on because I don't feel this way, but I would never do this either. I would never go on and say, you need to leave the LDS church because Wade Christofferson was allowed to serve in leadership positions and he is now a convicted child abuser, right? I would never do that. And also, I would never be like, Wade Christofferson, who? What are you even talking about? I think it's important that people go, this exists. And you need to make a decision around it. To not know about it does you no good. To steer away from it because I might find out something. I don't think that does you any good. So I don't need to say, hey, do this or don't do this. But I do feel it imperative to be like, you belong to a church where this has occurred and seemingly continues to occur. What does that mean for you? It means you probably need to be careful with who you trust.
There you go.
It doesn't mean that it can't have truth claims. It doesn't mean that we don't have a prophet. It doesn't mean all of those things. But it does mean, hey, you know what? Just because someone is a something doesn't mean I can trust them, because plenty of people who have been a something aren't worthy of your trust.
Yeah.
That's a
super
great
sad and unfortunate scenario for the victims of that. And to me, there are certainly things I feel passionate about where it's like, if you are accused and there's any sort of substance about being a child abuser, like I can see a path to rebaptism, maybe, depending on the penitent, right? The penitents. But I don't ever see where we can say, please serve among the youth, if we know that that's a thing. I think we just have to go, yes, I'm sorry. The choices you've made in this life don't allow you to do jobs A, B, and C. Sorry about that.
And
sorry that you made those choices.
If you sweep the problems under the rug, then people are, first of all, unaware that there could be a problem. And second of all, there's no path to getting better, to improving the situation.
Right.
And so it's good to have things out in the open so that people are well aware, and to be cautionary about things in and around. It could happen in any ward, right?
Sure.
It could happen anywhere. It could happen at work, whatever, at school.
Yeah.
And so you told us about a viral show. Do you have a proud moment in 2025 that you can look back to and say, that was a pretty good show, or you enjoyed it, or something?
Yeah. In 2025 specifically,
You can go back a little bit more if you want.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you. So I, for a long time, have just thought, oh, this is sort of fun, and it's kind of a passion project or whatever. I mentioned that earlier. A couple of months ago, we decided that and by we, I mean one of the co-hosts that I have for news. He lives in North Carolina. He said we should do a live show. And I'll be honest, I sort of thought, I don't know how this is going to go. Do people really care? There would be nothing more like ego just smashing for me to say, we're going to do a live show, come out and do this, and no one come, right? I don't know that I could recover from that. I'm being dramatic, but I don't know that I could. But he said, come on, let's do it. And I said, okay. And then we thought, well, what more of a Mormon place could we do a show from than a Chuckarama? And so during the day at a Chuckarama in Salt Lake, we got, someone that listens to the show said, hey, I work for Chuckarama. We'll get you the room for free. People just need to pay for their food. And so we said, hey, come have lunch with us. We're going to do a live show. And as far as being ready for something like that, I was disastrously unprepared. Came from a thing super late, didn't have the time, all that, but people showed up.
What is Chuckarama?
It's all you can eat.
It's an all you can eat. Think Golden Corral. Think just one of these. Yeah, all these there's buffet places where you come, and it is. And what was cool about this is it is for many members of the church. It's sort of where you go to have your last meal before you go on a mission, or it's where you go for your first meal when you come home, because a lot of family things are kind of united around these all you can eat buffets. And so while we were there, we're set up. I hadn't really thought about, what we were going to do for this show, because just doing the show was sort of the accomplishment. One of the other co-hosts that we have, he said, hey, there's some elders that haven't even been home yet that are in the other room eating. And so we went and asked them to kind of return and report on their mission. And it was just the most precious, innocence and exuberance that they had in sharing their mission. They weren't released. They just come home. They were excited to go and do the thing. And they were kind of recounting, probably for the first time, some of these mission experiences. And it was just super cool, because people said, can't believe you did that. Man, we'd love to have you do that again another time. Time that's at night when people can attend, and we'd love to be able to do that. And so, that was a huge win, to be like, oh, people do care about this. It's more than just, me doing a thing that I go, this is sort of nerdy. I'm going to talk about Masonic rites in the temple, or, we're going to talk about the news. People are actually like, oh, this is helpful. We like this. We enjoy this.
What did you call that show?
I think we just called it, that's a great question. I think we just called it Live from the Chuckarama.
It's your first video on your Facebook page. You talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. We probably called it. Oh yeah, live show from the Salt Lake City Chuckarama. Again, I'm pretty on the nose with naming things like that.
Is that the one that's 3rd South and 5th East or something?
Yeah, it's 4th South and I think 7th East, but yeah, right downtown there.
I've eaten there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a fun place. And so now we're sort of embracing it. We're doing a live show to celebrate our 1000th episode on the 5th of January, 2026. And we're doing it at another very culturally Mormon place. And I think they've got these in California. Leatherby's. It's like a Snellgroves. It's like a
ice cream
parlor. It's like an old-timey Cold Stone. It's like any of that kind of stuff.
Sandwiches and stuff, and burgers and stuff.
Yep. And so we'll go there and we'll have 50 people, and then it'll sell out, and we're going to try and do a thing there. And then I'll actually it's fun because it's something I'd never really considered, but then opening it up, people have shown interest. So I'll actually be down in Mesa in April, the March 31st and April 1st of 2026, to go do a tour of the Easter pageant. And then we're going to do some episodes down there with some saints down in Arizona. and do a live thing where people can come and attend. So it should be cool.
So are they having the Easter pageant there on the grounds of the temple?
They are. Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I used to attend that regularly. I used to attend it when it was the Easter sunrise service.
Oh,
right
cool.
The Mormon grounds. That was, and then they switched it over to multiple nights because there was such a crowd.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And my friend, Brother Robert Layton, was Jesus Christ, and he's the one that would appear up in the sky over the crowd.
Wow.
And that was really cool too, the effect, how they did that. But
yeah, I've never been to the Mesa Temple. I've never seen that pageant, but since it's one of the ones that still exist, I want to make sure that I do it. So looking forward to it. Yeah,
that's right. Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Richie, for coming on the show.
Of course.
It's been great chatting with you, and I can tell that you do have a fun personality, and I recommend people check out your show. I'll hire you to be a DJ, and if people pay you enough money, will you do dancing for them?
Sure. I'll come out and teach people. I'll come out and teach people to dance. I'll teach line dance and partner dance. My wife will tell you, if you throw enough money at me, there's just about nothing I won't do. So
there you go.
Can test that if you'd like. Those with deep.
You are our third dance teacher that we've interviewed.
Wow.
Yeah.
How about that?
Makes me want to dance with some of your previous guests, and I guess.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I was just going to ask you, and by the way, I'm a little freaked out because I just turned my head to the side and there's a blanket of snow, and it's snowing very actively right now.
Randy lives in Spokane.
Okay.
But I was just going to ask about your family. Now you're currently married, right?
Uh-huh.
Yep. And do you have kiddos?
I have a stepson from my first marriage. He and I guess estranged, though I've never used that terminology for that. But then my wife and I now do not have kids. We have a dog.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm all about the dogs for sure.
Yeah, I've seen the appearance. He's made the appearance in the show. We haven't ruled out kids necessarily, but we haven't, with not having them yet, obviously haven't ruled them in.
Okay. So thanks everyone for watching. Someday I'm going to say, hey, share, like, and subscribe towards the beginning. I had Randy do that for me for a few shows, and then we missed it on this one. But anyhow,
well, I thought about it. I just didn't want to be the continual. I didn't want to bug him. I thought maybe we could wait until right around now to say, we get quality guests like Richie. He's been just more than we could even hope for as a guest.
Oh, that's very kind of you. I'll say, tell you what, let me say it. Guys, share, like, and subscribe this show so they can continue to get great guests. Not like me, but like others that they've had in the past. Maybe they'll have better luck for the next one. But share, like, and subscribe right now, and check out all the links in the show notes. I guarantee that some of you, but not all, will like the Cultural Hall.
There you go. I think so too. Everybody have a great rest of 2025.